So I'm going to show you exactly how to determine if this is going to be a strong Santa rally heading into this week for a nice breakout move, or is this going to be a massive bull trap? Once you understand what to look for, the key levels to watch for, what reactions and confirmations to use to make this determination, you will then be able to capitalize off of these live trading plans, knowing exactly whether the bulls or bears are in control, where to enter your position, where to set your mental stop loss, and where to set your price targets. I've received very positive feedback from the recent live trading footage that I ended up sharing on this channel. So moving forward, I will continue to do that. With that being said, in terms of those trades that I make live, some of them are solely based off of these live trading plan videos that I make. So let's get straight into the key levels and I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to give you a much better understanding on where we're at in terms of the market right now and where we could be heading with certain reactions at these key specific levels. So in terms of where we are, let's start off with that. So SPY ended up bottoming at a very strong key support level, and it ended up partially filling this gap and having a reversal. Ever since it did that, the SPY has flipped bullish for the micro. What is the micro? The micro is the very, very short-term, more day trading style, right? How can you tell when something's flipping bullish? There's a lot of methods, there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of strategies, there's a lot of tips, tricks and tactics. But one thing that I look for in terms of trend flip analysis is this. So what you're looking at here, this is a 30-minute chart. As you can see, SPY had very, very key support at this $381 level. When it bottomed at this 381 level, it had a massive move to the upside all the way to 387. Well, if the SPY cracks that key support level and forms lower highs, reacts as a resistance, it's going to flip bearish, and instead of having that massive move to the upside, it's going to do the inverse and have a massive move to the downside, which is what occurred. Now, once the SPY filled that gap towards $374, it ended up having a reversal, and then it spiked back to the previous support that cracked, which was at $378 right here. So if the bears cannot turn that previous support into a lower high into a resistance level, which they failed 2 days in a row since the retest, you can see right here, they tried to crack it. They tried to crack it 2 days in a row, but they failed. That means that the bulls are flipping the trend because that previous support level that cracked needs to react as a lower high, needs to react as a resistance level for the bears to remain in control. But that failed to happen. Therefore, the bulls are now winning and they're now showing strength and they're now taking control. I'm not going to be showing you in terms of one pattern that I'm seeing on the SPY, but based off of what I'm seeing, this is what I'm seeing in terms of one pattern and one trend recognition pattern that I've identified with the SPY. What it's telling me is, it's telling me if the SPY can have a green day tomorrow, overall, it's going to be bullish and it's going to have a Santa rally. That's one confirmation I'm going to use. One of the confirmations I'll be using based off of a pattern that I've studied is if the SPY goes green tomorrow, it's going to have strong reasoning and strong chances of having a very, very nice bullish Santa rally. And not only that, but a break above resistance. That's one thing I'm going to keep in mind based off of patterns that I'm seeing. Now, this is what I want you to understand. We are at make or break, but the bulls are in control of this make or break move because not only did they break above that 378, but they turned key 381. This is 381 key support. That reacted as a resistance level previously, right? They turned that back into actual support and it's breaking out. And last time this was trading towards 381, it had a big move to the downside, but if it reacts to support, it's going to have that big move to the upside, right? To this 387, 386.23 gap level. So this is what I want you to understand. We are at a make or break micro zone. And in terms of who's showing strength and who's showing control of this zone, it's the bulls. It's the bulls. It's because they're turning all of those key previous support levels back into support levels instead of lower highs, instead of, previous support reacting as resistance. The trend has clearly flipped bullish for the micro, and there is multiple gaps that are waiting to fill above, and SPY's trying to heat up for that Santa rally. That's what truly is occurring here right now in time. Now I'm going to show you what can flip that, and I'm going to show you what needs to happen for the bulls to go super bullish. So this is the key level, man. This is the key level. You're looking at this 30-minute chart here. This is the key level. This is make or break We're going to call it $383. The previous closing price, $382.91. This is make or break. Check out this move that's about to happen on the SPY. We're going to see a massive move on the SPY here very, very soon. Check this out. When it hit 383 here, within 1 hour, it spiked all the way to 387. Massive move. Right here, when it was at 383, within 1 hour, it dropped all the way down to 379, right? So this is a massive 3 to 4 point move, and it's gonna occur at the previous closing price. That's where it's gonna be occurring at, right? So if 383 reacts as a support level, SPY breaks above it, and when it pulls back, if it consolidates, if it starts forming higher support, right? I showed you how to determine when this occurs in terms of what I'm going to be looking for tomorrow at the previous closing price. I showed you how to do this, not in my last live trading video, the one before that. I'll link it in the description so you know what it is that I'll be looking for. I show you how to determine that. So if we see a floor, if we see support, once SPY breaks, if it breaks above this previous closing price, it goes green, it's going to pull back at some point. If it starts to bounce at the previous closing price, once it pulls back or above the previous closing price, it's going to be super bullish and rocket to break out and start to fill this gap at 386.23. Make or break. Now, this is also a gap breakout level. So take a look at this. We went over the gap breakout strategy a couple weeks ago at a different level on the SPY. And remember how it ended up being a gap fake out that time? So keep this in mind. This is the inverse. 383.38 is a gap breakout level. If the SPY breaks above this and turns that into a support level, it's going to go super bullish and start to fill the gap above. But if it fakes out and reacts as a resistance level and SPY goes green to red, and if SPY goes under 382.91 and reacts as a resistance level, forms lower highs, no reason to be in calls, puts are going to print, and it's going to flash crash to, I would say, about $381 to 380. Right around there, right around, I would say 380. 380 would be the key level for that, right? So that's where we're at in terms of micro. That's where we're at in terms of micro. Make or break, 383. If it breaks above, goes green, pulls back, forms higher support, bulls are showing up, it's consolidating, then it's going to be call options, ride it for the gap breakout, sell into the gap fill. There's a gap to fill at 386.23. If it fakes out, goes green to red, forms lower highs, reacts bearish, then it's going to be puts for a move to 380 to 379. That's the first trading opportunity that I have. It is going to be our responsibility as traders to study, like I did on Friday, on how SPY is going to react in the pre-market and at market open, because that big move is coming. And it's going to be most likely a 3-point, but it could be a 4-point move very, very quickly at this make or break 383 level, right? So we need to see how it reacts, and we need to see who's taking control in the pre-market and in the market open. That's going to be the first trading opportunity to determine if it's support or resistance. If you get it wrong the first time, you can get stopped out quick and switch sides. It's a big move coming. You don't need a high win rate. You just need to cut the loss quickly and get in at the most competent entry, which would be towards this previous closing price at 382.91, make or break. If you're on the wrong side of the move and you hold, then guess what? You're looking at a 3 to 4 point drop very, very quickly if you don't get stopped out. You can always switch sides. Keep this in mind. That's what's expected to occur, and I explained with you the analysis before that. Now, what are some other things that we need to understand? Well, if the bulls do take control and they break above this and form a floor at this gap breakout, it's going to fill this gap at 386.23, which will be a make or break trade. So this is what I want you to understand. Based off of what I'm seeing, if the SPY can hold above, initially it's likely going to have a pullback. Initially, we will likely see a small drop when it fills the gap at 386.23. So if I see bearish reactions at 386.23, I will look to scalp. All these are very quick scalps, like 5-20 minute trades. I will look to scalp very, very quickly at 386 put when it fills the gap if it reacts bearish, and that will likely be against the overall trend. So keep that in mind. I want to see how it reacts towards that level, right? And just understand, if we break above 386.23, man, in terms of this week, the next level we go to is the next gap breakout, which is right here. The same thing I just showed you, which is at a higher level at 386.58, make or break. If it goes above that and turns that into support, then it goes at 389.63. So in terms of some best levels for, say it goes super bullish and you were to go against the trend and try puts, the best levels for that would truly be this 389.63 And the best level to swing trade a put would be this 399.40. But obviously there's confirmation you have to use for swing trade. It has to form a bearish candlestick right before the market closes on the daily candle, right? It has to be closing weak. But those are two levels in terms of like against the trend. For the micro, if this goes super bullish, puts it 389.63, and the best level 399.40. This 386 would be a super quick scalp, because basically what I'm seeing is the SPY truly can have a massive breakout and have that Santa rally as long as we're staying above this 383. Like, yes, it does have to turn this into support, but as long as we're staying above this 383 and we have that bullish move, I'm seeing where overall direction is going to be bullish based off the patterns that I'm seeing in the chart, and it's going to start to break out overall into the week and go super bullish. So keep all of these things in mind and do not get stuck in bear traps fighting trend, right? So in terms of downside potential right now, if the bears have a nice red day tomorrow, and if they could turn 383 into resistance, the next level they go to is this $380. And for them to go super bearish, for SPY to flip super bearish, it really needs to turn 380 into a resistance level, and it has to crack 378. If it cracks 378, we'll be on track to fill the gap at 374.13, which would be the best level for calls at this 374.13 level. So that's bearish theory and that's bullish theory based off of how the daily chart looks. This looks super bullish. You know, look at this candlestick right here. Look at this candlestick right here. SPY goes up a little bit. It looks bullish for the micro. It looks like the bulls are going to be showing up, and the bulls have already flipped the trend, and SPY is still oversold for the micro. We have all these gaps to fill above, and people are talking about a Santa rally. So we'll see. Doesn't matter what I think. What matters is having that understanding of, okay, here's our key levels we're going to be trading at. If it reacts bullish here, then I'm going to play the calls. If it reacts bearish here, then I'm going to play the puts, right? And my key levels don't work like that all the time. Sometimes at a key level, I'll just be interested in call options. Sometimes at a key level, I'll just be interested in put options. And if it reacts the way I don't want it to, then I don't take the trade, right? In terms of scalping, I like to focus on puts at resistance levels at the spikes, like I've been doing if you watch my past 2 live trading videos. And then in terms of calls, I like to focus on dips rather than breakouts. So keep that in mind. This would be more of a breakout trade if you were to play calls, which is something I dislike, but I'm familiar with the strategy and I'm very interested to see how it reacts. Plus there is a gap to fill above, but don't get faked out, because remember, SPY recently had a gap fake out. Take a look at this. SPY recently, you could see right here, it had a gap down. When a stock has a gap down, you take that high of day. The high of day was right here at this 386.55. Once SPY went back to that high of day, there's no resistance. So if it breaks above this resistance, it's going to start to fill the gap if it can turn this resistance into support. Well, that resistance ended up reacting as a resistance, not a support level. Therefore, it was a gap fake out, and SPY sold off very, very hard. And we are reapproaching a new lower gap breakout level. And the last time this occurred, SPY had a fake out. So just keep that in mind. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to have a fake out this time, because we did start to flip and trend. And the bulls are showing some strength. But just remember, last time this occurred, it was a fake out. It was at a much higher level, though, so we have to see. But in terms of what occurred last time with what I'm showing you right now, it was a fake out. But just remember, if we break above 383, and it turns that floor into support, wait for a pullback. If it's bottoming at previous closing price, it's forming that floor, then super bullish. I showed you how to determine that. I'll leave the link in the description. That's my overall thoughts. That's my overall thesis. In terms of the SPY heading into tomorrow, that's my main trading plan. My main trading plan is to determine support or resistance at 383, make the trade. If I'm wrong, I could switch sides or I just sit on the sidelines. My next trade after that is I want to see how we react when we get to 386.23. So my main overall levels to be trading at are these levels heading into tomorrow. In terms of my scalps and my strategies and what I do, 383 is a make or break key level with a big 3 to 4 point move coming. It's also a make or break gap breakout to gap fake out level, right? One trade's going to be made there, and I can always switch sides if I'm wrong. Another trade, if SPY goes super bullish, I'm going to be interested in looking at this 386 level for a quick scalp against the trend. Just very quick scalp with puts against the trend very, very quickly. Not my favorite strategy. I don't like trading against the trend, but it is a good level to try it out. But I could see that being a loss because the overall trend will be super bullish. And then the best level for puts would be 389.63 to 399.44. Just understand if that 383 holds up and we could just push above 386 overall this week, it's going to have that Santa rally that people are talking about. Now, in terms of a very strong level where SPY is likely to see a nice pullback into this week, and I'm very interested in puts at this level, this 389.63, that is key. There's a gap to fill here. So the gap close reversal strategy, see there's a gap to fill here at resistance. SPY fills the gap, has a reversal. See how there was a gap to fill at resistance right here at 410.94, same level. SPY fills the gap, has a reversal, right? We killed that multiple times in Trader Society. And I'm planning to do the same thing at this 389.63 level. This was a previous key support level, right? SPY cracked, it had big downside potential. So once it instantly rips back up, overreaction to the upside, look for previous support on the overall trend, not the micro. This is the overall trend. Your overall support was at 389. That's when once that cracked, it flipped super micro bearish, right? So when it retests that overall trend level, the overall trend's going to kick in. The overall trend this year on SPY has been bearish. So when it retests this 389.63, the overall trend's going to kick in and SPY is going to try to have a micro drop. So that's where I think, not an overall flip. An overall flip would be, its potential swing would be at 399.40. But for a nice scalp, 389.63 puts, gap close reversal, buy them out of the money at 389 when it pushes above, and then ride them back in the money, scale out of profits once they start to become in the money. That's where I see the SPY having a nice mini pullback this week if it can get there at 389.63. So what are my 3 levels of interest in making my trades? 382.91, 382.91, 386.23 gap, and 389.63. What are my favorite levels to be trading at? The lower one, 383, and the higher one, 389. The one in the middle, I believe that's going to be the worst levels to be trading at, but in terms of my strategy, it's going to be an okay, decent level that I will show some interest in, right? So look for the previous support to react as a resistance. That'll be another play. I love doing that strategy as well. But those are my levels, man. Those are the make or break trades. And then, of course, the 374.13 gap, if it goes super bearish, to be buying down there. Those are my 4 levels. Not interested in any other levels in terms of making a trade as of now. Now, once the market opens, if we get some new sort of overreaction to the upside or downside, there could be new levels. We got to see. As of now, that's my game plan, and that's what I'm going to trade. You'll see. I got my alerts set. I got the plan, and I'm going to trade those alerts. I'm going to trade those plans with proper confirmations and reactions. That's the game, man. I'm going to wrap it up. I will see you guys within Trader Society tomorrow.